Welcome back.
Everything Ireland.
Everything Ireland.
We're here.
We're back with Martin Merriman here. And as Wes alluded to, he's just opened up a new establishment in town. What's the name of it?
The Irish Chipper.
Irish Chipper.
We make the most delicious fish and chips in Cullman. Absolutely uncertain as to whether Alabama can be included, but certainly Cullman.
Oh, yes.
And your accent is authentic. That's not something you've done just for the restaurant.
I did it for this television program.
For this television. Now, how long have you been back in Cullman? Or not back in Cullman? Well, you were. This is
I was here in the 80s, but I returned here 13 years ago.
Okay. And what led you here was music.
Yes.
Not to come listen to our music, but to play yours.
I have 5 children, and they are all musicians. And so we came here approximately 13 years ago to travel America and conquer the music business.
Like the Irish Jackson 5, kind of.
It's like the Irish Jackson 5.
What is he been drinking?
So you moved back and you live in Cullman.
I do. I live in the Promised Land, otherwise known as Good Hope.
Good Hope. There you go. There you go.
My wife refuses to live anywhere else in Cullman but Good Hope.
Okay. And now all your kids live still back in Ireland.
I've got 5 children. They're all adults now. But one of them lives in Huntsville, and the rest are all living back in Ireland.
Okay. Now, how often do you go over there to see them?
Well, interestingly, I was there a few weeks. I was there about 8 weeks ago. My daughter was having her second baby, her little girl, and she called her Poppy, and she's absolutely beautiful.
What's her name?
My daughter's name, Rachel.
And your grandchild?
Poppy.
Poppy.
Yeah.
That's what okay. I thought she was calling you Poppy.
No.
Okay.
She's 8 weeks old. What is going on?
Well, I know they said the Irish were the masters of the language.
Good.
Well, I thought y'all started earlier, like
That's
in the
true.
style of William Butler Yeats, or.
William Butler Yeats was not speaking at 8 weeks old.
Okay. Well, now here we got it. I've been to Ireland before.
I thought it was going to be a gun.
I've been to Ireland before, and I've still got my map.
Oh, that's
Now,
good.
y'all drive what we call on the wrong side of the road.
That's true.
Okay. Now, this map here, we're going to play a game.
We are?
Oh,
Yes.
boy.
We're going to yell out a town, and you're going to tell us in one sentence what brings to mind.
Now, on this particular television station, I know there's plenty of money in it, so I get paid for every right answer.
Correct.
Ooh.
Correct.
And I'll make a note
All
if it's
right.
correct.
He's making a note.
He's making a note if it's correct. All right, we're going to start with Galway.
Okay.
Galway.
Yeah. What?
Now
What's the question?
No, there is no question. You just got to tell us.
Well,
in one sentence.
Galway is famous for its bay. They call Galway Bay. Bing Crosby actually sang a song called Galway Bay.
There you go.
And it's getting close to Christmas time, and he sang a Christmas song known as
White Christmas.
Good job. That's a correct.
How much is that worth?
That's 50 points. It's more like skee ball. You don't get extra dollars. All right, now we're going to Cork.
Cork. It's the second capital of Ireland. It's the part of Ireland where Cork people wanted to be the capital, but Dublin is actually the capital.
Oh.
And you're from Dublin.
I am.
Okay.
Ding.
And so when you say Dublin, you think of you.
No, I think of the city
Oh,
and the
okay.
county. Why would I think of me?
Well, you're from Dublin.
I know.
All right.
Right, we're going to give half credit.
Half credit.
He wasn't.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Now we're going to say Wicklow.
Wicklow is called the Garden of Ireland. It's really, now Ireland is beautiful, but Wicklow is just absolutely wonderful. It's got, it's just the vegetation and the scenery, it's just gorgeous.
And it's
really
just
is.
south of Ireland.
It's south of Dublin.
Dublin, yeah.
Oh,
Not Ireland.
he got you. Trick
Yeah.
question.
Trick question.
Ding.
I guess
Trick question. He made it.
That's
Plus
right.
one. That's right.
So he's back on top.
Now, they don't have anything to do with Wookalars or Wiccans or anything like that.
Why don't I get me glasses? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
he's got the pronunciation wrong.
Where is it?
Wicklow.
Wicklow, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. We're going to go over here. Let's not do Wexford.
Why not?
Well, let's do Wexford.
Wexford has the least rainfall of all of Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, it's very beautiful too.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'll be.
There you go.
There we go. Now, do you golf at all?
No.
Okay.
Golf is for old men. And I'm only 64.
That's right.
That's good.
Last one, and we'll get out of this.
I'm joking.
We could do Castlebar, Connemara. Let's just go straight to Belfast.
Why?
Well, never mind.
The most beautiful part of Ireland is Donegal.
Okay,
in
yeah,
the
talk about that.
It's on the northwest. It's absolutely, no, seriously. Donegal is beautiful. And I know you're a spiritual man. You'd fall on your knees and pray to God because it's beautiful when you get there. It really is.
Now that's still in
The northwest.
Yeah. Is that close to the Giant's Causeway? Not really.
Yeah, well, it's on the west coast. So.
Yeah. All right. Now, what kind of music did y'all play? Switching back to gears, you and your family when y'all came back.
Okay, we had two bands in the family. One was my sons, and they played rock, pop music. And my daughter, Rachel, and my youngest son, Adam, they had a band called Red Letters, and they played rock and pop music. So
Was it with the American culture? Was it the
No.
80s type rock?
no, well, they did. They used to have to do covers in some of the clubs they played
Right.
to make a living. But they are an originals band, so they wrote and played their own.
Huh. That's the phone. He'll get that. And now let me ask you, as far as, did you manage both bands?
Well, manage is a kind of a stretching it. I worked with them, you know, and yes, I did deal with some of the record companies, and I dealt with some of the producers, and but I basically tried to travel with them. I loved being with my family, so that was
Can
it.
you play an instrument?
I can play the piano.
Okay. You
But
don't play
I'm-
the Irish pipes or any of that?
No.
Okay.
Sorry
I'm not
to
disappointed. but
Oh,
I mean-
you are. I
Yeah. Now, let me
Actually, it was classical music I was trained
Oh.
in. So that's all. But my kids are much better musicians than me. They're much more talented than me.
What and now did they all play? They had to do both bands though. If there's only 5 of them.
Well, there was my eldest boys had one band. Then there
Okay.
was my daughter, my youngest son, and we had two. I used to have a performing arts school, and 2 of the students from that school came to America and traveled with us and played.
Okay,
The drummer and the bass player.
I see. Now, when you lived in Ireland, did you live in the downtown or out?
I lived in a little village called Baldoyle, and it was on the north coast, just outside of Dublin. And it was a little fishing village, and it's near a place called Howth. And Howth is one of the reasons Howth is so famous is one of U2, the famous rock band out of Ireland, lives out there.
Okay,
You know.
is that the Edge?
No, there's Larry Mullins, I think.
Larry. And now Ireland has grown. I mean, not Ireland, but Dublin has just. It's what, doubled in population in the last 30 years?
Well,
or
less
so?
than that, I would say. Yeah, there's about 6 million there now in the whole country.
Right.
And we've had a lot of immigrants come to Ireland, and yeah, it has really grown. The population.
They had
grown.
they called it the Celtic Tiger economy.
Yes, the economy was thriving, but like the world in general, the bottom fell out of the market, and it did happen to Ireland as well. Yeah.
I noticed when I was there was a lot of Czechs.
Well, do use checks.
But the weird thing is none of them were any good. No. I'm talking about the servers. There was a lot of people from the Czech Republic.
Really?
Yeah.
It's usually Polish and
So they made that
Romanians.
up.
But that's not very far from it. You know, they may have taken on the Irish ways and started just telling us they were from somewhere else.
Where did you get that from? Who told you the Irish did?
You know what I was told? The Irish are lucky. Is it true?
I think it is true. Don't ask me why, but I think it is true. It could be St. Patrick. It could be anything. But I do think the Irish tend to be lucky.
And what about, you talked about when you were there at Dublin, the fishing village, did you partake in fishing? Did you what was your main?
My main thing was I liked soccer and or football as we call it. I love it. And the other thing was the music. I was not into fishing.
But you don't mind cooking them.
I don't cook them. I have my wife and the servers in the restaurant.
So really, as far as seafood's concerned, you don't mind people catching them, and you don't mind having people cook them.
But I want to eat
But
them.
you eat them. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
Now, we were discussing this off camera about the different areas in Ireland, whether it be the Northern Ireland or Southern Ireland, and we were talking about the discrepancy between the heights of leprechauns and whether they were taller in the north or the south. And you had enlightened us on what
I did. Stand up.
Stand up, Lee.
I know he's not going to be on the camera. They're about your height.
I like it.
You know, I had an experience the other day in the restaurant, not to bring up the Irish chipper too much, but I was in the restaurant, this couple was sitting there. Now, this is a true story. And the husband called me over to the table, so I went over, and the wife says to me, "Is it true that there are leprechauns in Ireland?" And I looked at her in the eye, like this. And I said, "Are you serious?" She said she was serious. The woman was about 40 years of age. Like, it wasn't a child. I said, "There's no leprechauns in Ireland." She was so disappointed. She stood up, got her napkin, threw it onto the table and walked out. No, that part's not true. But she was disappointed, I could tell.
That does not surprise me.
No.
As well as how many people's asked you about Darby O'Gill and the little people when they come in.
We
Probably
get
lots.
some people ask us
Michael,
that.
I'm
Yeah.
sure, was one.
Do you ever watch, I'm sure just like anybody you've seen them, but do you have a favorite movie about Ireland?
Well, when you come in, you'll see that The Quiet Man is on,
Right.
all on loop with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara and Barry Fitzgerald and Victor McLaglen. Great actors, right? But the thing about it is, it was all shot in Ireland, and it is authentic. You know, the clothes and all the rest of it. So I do kind of like that one the best.
We went to that little village they have where the setting,
Yeah.
where you can go to the pub, you know, and all that. It's
Really?
I guess they knew Americans would go to something like that, and they still have the same house, you know, that was
The little
inside.
cottage, yeah.
It's a little museum or whatever.
Isn't
but
that great?
Yeah.
What was the name of that village?
I have no clue. But you can now with the internet, you don't have to know anything.
That's
You can
very
just type-
true.
And then Ryan's daughter, I always like.
Oh yeah, that's on the West Coast too.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
So now with your restaurant,
Yes.
The Irish Chipper.
the Irish Chipper,
What did you call it?
It's the Irish Chipper.
being a, now the Germans and Irish they've never had any what you would call major problems, or not necessarily have an affinity with each other, but they don't have any. They've never had any major conflicts, I
Okay.
guess to say. So when you came to Cullman, since this is a German town, especially with the Richters or the Knappenbergers or the Leigabers, did you think those people were more welcoming, or did they see a new immigrant group coming in as kind of a threat to them, such as what happened in New York?
That's deep.
There's only 6 questions here. Well, let me tell you. First of all, Ireland's a tiny little
Right.
island. So I think if we took on the Germans, I don't think we'd last long. So we've actually had a really good history with the Germans.
Right.
Second of all, when I came to Cullman, you all talk about it as a German town, but all I meet are Cullmanites. I don't meet anybody with a German accent. And when Oktoberfest comes around, you know, I do see people in the Leberhosen and so forth, but they treat me like they treat you.
Right. So that bad.
Yes.
They wear that stuff at night in their homes.
Okay.
And
They go into dangerous territory.
so now with this restaurant,
Yes.
how many employees do you have?
We've got, there's, including my wife and myself, there's 8 of us.
8. Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of responsibility. That
Yes, my wife doesn't sleep at night worrying about it.
What's Martin's favorite thing about Ireland?
What's your favorite thing about Ireland? he
The
asks?
people.
The people.
The people are fantastic. They're friendly, you know, and they love I'm serious about this. They love Americans. You know, I mean, when you consider the amount of Irish that live in America, you can understand why. There's actually a larger population of Irish in America than there actually is in Ireland itself. You know.
What a typical day in Ireland compared to your typical day here? Is it comparable?
Well, it depends on what you do. Like before I came here, I had a business, a performing arts school, and my day would start The Irish are not ones for getting up early in the morning, but we are ones for staying up late at night. So a typical day would be, you know, you have your breakfast and then you go to work. And but now when it hits 5 o'clock, the Irish should come home. In my case, my school didn't open till the afternoon, and we would just teach. It was a performing arts school, and there would be teaching, and the students would come in and so on, and you just tried to stay out of the rain. It rains a lot in Ireland.
And you know, maybe not so much in Dublin because it is a more metropolitan, obviously.
It is,
huge city, and it's more modern. But once you got out in the countryside, the one thing I noticed is that here, every 10 to 15 years, there's a generational gap. You know, like the people born in the 80s, the early, I mean, not born, but were going to school in the early 80s, they may not have a lot in common with the people from the mid-90s. And every 10, 15 years, you know, whether it's music or culture or whatever. But in the pubs there, that was what was, it was comforting to see, whether it be, you know, 80-year-old women, 20-year-old men. It's the kind of, not that they listen to the same music all the time, but it was more of a communal, like the pub.
Yeah, there is that. There isn't the same generational gap. Now that is changing as time has gone on. It is changing, but we tend to have a situation where the families kind of stick together. They as they get older, the parents would take it. The grandparents would move in with the sons or the daughter as they got older and so forth. So you're seeing a lot of that in the countryside still,
right?
And to an extent in Dublin. But you would be right about that. There's not the same generational gaps.
Right.
You know, we can enjoy each other's company, whatever age they are.
And, well,
I've heard it said that Martin Merriman is Lord of the Dance. Is that a true statement?
The secret's out. No, what's his name? Flatley. He's the Lord of the Dance.
Yes.
He's you know, it is a great thing. The river dance thing was very, very famous worldwide, and then the Lord of the Dance fell off. But dancing, nah. Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, I'm in that category.
and then you know, I don't know when it happened. I guess I would say mid-90s. Maybe a little afterwards. Probably started with the Lord of the Dance or something. Everything became Irish, whether it was the Celtic women or and then
Daniel O'Donnell on the PBS and all that.
Yes, Daniel O'Donnell. But we in Alice Stevens Center here in Birmingham, off of UAB's campus, Alice Stevens Center, they have had, and you've met these gentlemen, they've had I think 3 different times that I know of the chieftains.
Oh yeah.
And they've come to this area, and I think they've even played in Huntsville. But anyway,
they're in their 70s now.
They're in their. And can you tell us about them, kind of as a group? Because I mean, I know you weren't.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I haven't actually met the chieftains, but I've seen them in concert, and they've been part of the Irish culture for decades now. But they play with rock bands and everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're just brilliant musicians. They really are.
And they were doing this before, kind of like that song, I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool.
Really?
Barbara Mandrell. They were kind of Irish music before it became, you know.
I know what you mean. They popularized.
Yeah.
They did. They really did.
Yeah. Now, have you ever been to the festival in Lisdoonvarna, and can you tell us about that?
Oh, well, Lisdoonvarna is a place where old farmers would go to meet young women. That's what
Michael needs to go.
And,
that fella Michael in there probably, who's behind the cameras, he should go.
Yes.
Yes.
But now, that's the image of it. But it's where men go to meet women and women go to meet men. It's a festival once a year. Yeah.
It's not like a Mooney festival. But do a lot of people that meet there, do they end up? Have you met any couples that actually met there?
Actually, I have met one couple, but you know, they go for a bit of fun.
Right.
That's you know.
That's how
honestly,
everything starts out.
It really, they do, and in the west of Ireland, there is, you know, taking it back to the 40s and 50s and so forth, there wasn't a lot to do. And so they would look forward to this in the Burren. Yeah, they would look forward to an event like that. You know what I mean? Right. And they had a good time, music and dancing.
You mentioned something, and I would say that's how most people get married. Is it started out just for looking to have a bit of fun?
Yeah, exactly. But they have what's called, what do you call them fellas now? Hang on, I have to think of them. They're matchmakers. Right. They have matchmakers, you know, and they trying to hook, you know, one couple up with the other, and.
Well, I know everybody's wanting to know more about this Irish chipper and the food, as we have come to find out we love. So we're going to take one more short break, and we're going to come back and talk about all things Irish chipper.
I love it.
And the food. So we'll be right back.
Thank you.